A lion walks into a hospital carrying a baby. What happens next will leave you speechless. The rain poured down in sheets, distorting the glow of the neon sign outside St. Mary's Hospital in Phoenix, Arizona. Inside, Nurse Elia Carter sat at her station, nursing a lukewarm cup of coffee. With over a decade of experience, she was used to long, exhausting shifts. To her, this was just another busy night, until the hospital doors slid open. At first, she expected a late-night visitor or an ambulance crew. But when she looked up, her hands went numb, and her coffee mug slipped, shattering on the floor. Standing in the entrance, soaked from the rain, was a lion. A massive, golden-maned lion. The entire hospital lobby fell into stunned silence. The creature wasn't growling or aggressive. It wasn't charging through the room. It simply stood there, scanning its surroundings with calm, intelligent eyes. But what truly made Elia's breath hitch wasn't just the sheer impossibility of a lion inside a hospital. It was what the lion carried in its powerful jaws. A small, wrapped bundle. With deliberate, careful steps, the lion padded forward, its claws clicking softly against the polished tile. Its amber eyes locked onto Elia's, and for reasons she couldn't explain, she didn't feel fear. Instead, she felt a strange, deep connection. Murmurs of disbelief rippled through the staff. Security guards hesitated, unsure whether to act. Doctors stood frozen in shock. Elia took a step forward, her heart pounding. Something deep inside told her to trust the lion. Reaching the center of the lobby, the lion gently set the bundle on the floor. With a soft nudge of its nose, it pushed it toward Elia before sitting back on its haunches. For a long moment, the only sound was the rain pounding against the hospital windows. Elia's hands trembled as she knelt and carefully peeled back the damp cloth. The sight before her made her breath catch. A baby, a tiny newborn, only a few days old. Its fragile chest rose and fell weakly, its lips tinged with a worrisome shade of blue. A faint, pitiful cry escaped its mouth. Tears stung Elia's eyes as her instincts kicked in. This baby needed urgent medical care. Her voice cut through the stunned silence as she called for the pediatric team, her years of training taking over. The lion didn't move. It simply watched, its eyes filled with something that almost resembled understanding. What happened next would change everything. The lion's mysterious farewell. It was as if the lion knew its job was done. Now that the baby was in safe hands, it simply sat there, calm and composed. As Amelia handed the fragile infant to the team of nurses and doctors rushing in with an incubator, she turned back to the lion, a storm of questions racing through her mind. Where had it come from? Why had it brought the baby here? And how could it show such precise care and understanding? A sharp voice pulled her from her thoughts. What's going on here? Dr. Marcus Green, the hospital's chief physician, had just arrived. His eyes flicked between Amelia and the massive lion, his face a mix of shock and disbelief. Amelia swallowed hard and quickly explained, her voice still unsteady from the surreal moment. The lion, it brought the baby. It just walked in and laid the child down. It knew something was wrong. Dr. Green's tense expression softened as he glanced at the fragile infant, now being rushed toward the neonatal unit. Then he turned back to Amelia. "And the lion?" he asked. "I don't know," she whispered. The lion hadn't moved. Water dripped from its golden mane, its powerful form completely still, almost as if it was waiting for something or someone. Security guards edged closer, their radios buzzing with frantic chatter. One of them raised a tranquilizer gun, his hands unsteady. Amelia's voice rang out, firm and unwavering. "No one touches that lion. It saved a life tonight. We owe it the same care." Dr. Green hesitated, but then gave a small nod, trusting her instincts. "Let's figure this out," he said quietly. But before anyone could act, the lion stood. With a slow, deliberate turn, it began walking back toward the entrance. Then, just before stepping into the storm, it paused. For a brief moment, it glanced over its shoulder, one last look, almost like a silent goodbye. And then, just as mysteriously as it had arrived, the lion disappeared into the rain. Amelia stood there, heart pounding. She had more questions than answers, and the mystery had only deepened. A clue in the locket one of the nurses rushed over, breathless, clutching a small object in her hand. "I found this in the baby's blanket," she said, handing it to Amelia. Amelia took the item, a gold locket, slightly tarnished but still elegant. With trembling fingers, she opened it. Inside was a faded photograph of a woman cradling a newborn, a soft smile on her face. On the back of the locket, an inscription read, "For Anna. Protect him, no matter the cost." Amelia's mind raced. Who was Anna? Was she the baby's mother? What had happened to her? And most of all, how was the lion connected to all of this? Outside, the storm raged on, but Amelia felt something shift inside her. This night was far from over. It was only the beginning of something much bigger than she could have imagined. A life saved, a mystery deepens. Through the glass window of the neonatal unit, Amelia watched as doctors and nurses worked swiftly to stabilize the baby. His tiny chest now rose and fell steadily, aided by the rhythmic hum of the incubator. Dr. Green emerged from the room, relief and confusion mingling on his face. "The baby's stable for now," he said. "Dehydrated, hypothermic, but no signs of physical trauma. It's a miracle, Amelia. Whoever or whatever brought him here saved his life." Amelia nodded, gripping the locket tightly. "But who is he, Marcus?" she asked. "And what happened to him before he got here? That lion. It didn't just stumble in, it knew. It understood." Before Dr. Green could respond, a chime echoed through the intercom. "Security to the main entrance. We have a situation." Amelia's stomach tightened. She turned to Dr. Green. "Stay with the baby," she said. "I'll handle this." The man in the rain. The hospital's once quiet lobby was now a chaotic scene. The storm had slowed to a drizzle, but outside a growing crowd had gathered. Police officers, reporters, and curious onlookers who had clearly heard the rumors. Amelia pushed through the commotion and spotted Carl, the head of security, speaking with two officers. "What's going on?" she asked, her voice steady, despite the chaos. Carl gestured toward a man standing just outside the hospital doors. He was tall, his face weathered and lined with exhaustion. His unkempt hair dripped from the rain, and his frantic eyes darted around as if searching for someone. In his trembling hand, he held a photograph. "He showed up a few minutes ago," Carl explained. "Says he's looking for his son, and that he knows about the lion." Amelia's pulse quickened. "His son?" She stepped forward, locking eyes with the man. "Sir, I'm Nurse Carter. You said you're looking for your son?" The man's hands shook as he held out the photograph. Amelia's breath caught. It was the same woman and baby from the locket, but this time there was someone else in the picture. Him. His arm was wrapped protectively around the woman, his face filled with pride. "My name is David," he said, his voice raw with emotion. "My wife, Anna. She passed away 3 days ago. Our car went off the road during the storm. I tried to get help, but when I came back, the baby was gone. I thought I'd lost him too." Amelia's heart pounded. She looked at the locket in her hand, then back at David. "Your wife's name was Anna?" she whispered. David nodded, his eyes filled with desperate hope. And in that moment, Amelia realized this was far more than a miracle. This was fate, a promise fulfilled. David nodded, his eyes brimming with tears. "She gave me this," he whispered, pulling out a matching gold locket. "It was hers. She said it was meant to protect him, no matter what." Amelia's grip tightened around the locket in her own hand. "David, your baby is here. He's safe." She hesitated, searching for the right words to explain something beyond reason. "But there's something else." David looked at her, his expression a mix of exhaustion and fear. "A lion brought him to us." His face paled. "A lion?" She nodded. "It walked into the hospital, carrying your son wrapped in a blanket. It didn't hurt anyone, it just left him here." She studied his reaction. "Do you know anything about that?" David's breath hitched. His hands trembled. The lion, it was Anna's wish. Amelia's heart pounded. What do you mean? David took a shaky breath. Anna grew up near a wildlife sanctuary. There was a lion there she loved. His name was Solomon. She cared for him as a girl, always said he was special, almost like he could understand her. His voice cracked. Before she passed, she told me that if anything ever happened to us, Solomon would know. He swallowed hard, his voice barely a whisper. I thought she was delirious, but now... Tears streamed down his face. Amelia placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. David, your son is alive because of her wish. That lion, somehow he brought him here. We don't understand how, but he's safe. And he needs you. A father's love. In the neonatal unit, David stood by the incubator, silent tears falling as he gazed at his son. Amelia stayed nearby, giving him space but watching the emotional reunion with a full heart. The baby stirred, his tiny fingers stretching out as if sensing his father's presence. He looks just like her, David whispered, his voice thick with emotion. Thank you for saving him. Amelia smiled softly. It wasn't just us. She met his gaze. Solomon knew. David nodded, his eyes never leaving his child. I don't know how to repay you. There's nothing to repay, Amelia said gently. Your wife's love and that lion's instinct. They brought him here. That's all that matters. But even as relief settled in, Amelia's mind lingered on the mysteries of the night. Where had the lion gone? How could it have acted with such intelligence? And why did she feel like this wasn't the end of the story? A silent goodbye. The next morning, as the first rays of sunlight broke through the clouds, Amelia found herself drawn to the hospital entrance. She stepped outside, breathing in the crisp air, now fresh and calm after the storm. Her eyes scanned the quiet street, searching. And then she saw him. Beyond the edge of the hospital parking lot, standing in the shadows, was Solomon. The great lion stood tall and majestic, his golden mane glowing in the morning light. His amber eyes met hers, deep, knowing, full of something unspoken. Amelia felt a wave of peace wash over her. It was as if he was saying goodbye. And then, with one last look, Solomon turned and disappeared into the world once more. A guardian, a protector, a promise fulfilled. With a deep, low rumble, Solomon turned and strode away, vanishing into the trees. Amelia stood there for a long time, the crisp morning air brushing against her skin. She held the locket tightly in her hand, her heart filled with gratitude and awe. There were still so many unanswered questions, but one truth remained clear. Sometimes love and loyalty go beyond reason, and on that stormy night a lion had proven it.